going around. No fun.
Horrible. People that's hanging on and hanging on and hanging on. And
I had it for 3 months. I was sick for 3 months.
I'm not
good.
getting it.
Yes. Well, has anybody, I haven't heard today. Has anybody heard how the Pope's doing?
No, I haven't heard.
No, but they said he's
That just
out of critical, right?
oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
That
But he's still having some problems.
poor
He
guy.
was still doing his meetings and everything, and one thing I saw.
I heard him yesterday he makes a phone call to the Ukraine every Wednesday or every Tuesday, and he did that yesterday. Anyway, I think he's an amazing, I mean, I haven't, my one side of the family was Catholic, one's Episcopal, and so it doesn't really, I'm not a practicing Catholic or anything, but I just have a lot of respect for him. I think he's a pretty cool guy. So makes me sad that he's having to have so many struggles. So, but we are going to do something fun today. This is the project day and I always look forward to it. So welcome. Hello. And let's see here. Lisa, how's your shoulder? I forgot to ask you the other day.
Still there.
Well, I can see that. But how's it feeling?
It's still there.
Do you have done to it or is it?
Right now they're just saying to let it heal with a sling. And if it doesn't heal the way expected, then they're going to replace it.
Okay.
Oh.
There's
But
no repair.
that's good news because my father-in-law had a shoulder replacement and his recovery was far better than anyone I've ever known to have it reconstructed or whatever they do or repaired. So I hope you don't have it done, but
they said no point in trying to repair it because you just have to replace it then anyhow.
Yeah.
But at least the colors are going down. But it's a horrible citron, yellow, green, purple, and brown.
Oh, isn't that nice? Well, I'm glad I forgot to ask you the other day, so I wanted.
But thank you.
Did you fall on it?
Skiing.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I would break more than that if I were.
So I ruined the mother-daughter ski weekend too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Bummer. Well, I'm glad you're here though. All righty. So we are going to doodle. We talked about a black surface, but you could use any color. You talked about shamrocks and a hat, and somebody wanted a bunny. So I'm going to show you those doodle things, some quick and easy kinds of things. And then, somebody contacted me about a rainbow. And so I'll show you how I would do a rainbow, especially on a black background. So I'm going to turn my camera down so we can do the first things. You're going to love the shamrocks, I think. Let me see. I've been on too many platforms. There we go. So I have my favorite notebook and I'm going to grab a pencil here. And let's start with our shamrocks because those are the ones that you're going to have you're just going to have all the feels. You're going to want to do shamrocks all the time. And let me move this down. I'm knocking over bottles of paint, but I want it a little bit closer. There we go. Okay. So with the shamrocks, especially if you're on the grid paper and you've got your little, I'm just outlining this. You don't need to do it, but I'm outlining it just so you can see what I'm looking at. And you can divide it this way or diagonally. But if you want a 4-leaf clover, you're going to want it in 4 sections. So if I divide it in 4 sections, that's how I would start it. But if I say I wanted that shamrock to be in 4 sections, but I want one of them real small, so it kind of looks like it's folded over, you can move that X. That's going to be the center of your shamrock. So that's the thing to remember. And then if you want it to be a 3-leaf one, You're going to go down to where you want your center, and then you're going to do a Y. So that's the way to think about it. And you don't have to draw this every time. Once you've done it a couple times, it will start to make sense. There's two ways to do it, and I'm going to do both. I'll do one down here, the very same as the one up top, so that you can see the difference. So I've got the X in the very same place with the center right there. And one way to do it is to kind of come up here, and you can put as much curve on that outside edge as you want. So it could be just a flat one if you want it to be like those little shamrock plants. I like to have a little bit of a curve to mine. And then you're going to just want to add it to each one of these sections. And I try and put a little bit of space in between them or whatever, but that's the shape and the kind of way that I'm thinking about when I do a shamrock. And then in one of these little corners, I'll put the stem. And so that will help me, whether I'm showing them growing or whether I'm showing them as a background or whatever I'm doing. That's one way to do it. The other way is to kind of do it the opposite. So I'm going to come in and put the middle of it on the line. The middle of it on the line. But I still have that little dip kind of in it, because they're not going to be even. They're, you know, when you look at them for real, they're not ever going to have the very same look, you know, as far as each leaf being the same. So when you put that little stem in there, just have it curved. If it's, you know, of course, growing, then you want it to come down like it's going to connect to the rest of the plant or whatever. And some of them have real long stems. So that's kind of how I'm thinking about all that. But the other way to do it is you use the spaces very, very, very similarly, but to do a 3 leaf one, you're going to just use those 3 sections instead of 4. And what I like to do on those leaves, and I'll do this real quick so you can see the difference. Can you tell which one I divert to? I usually draw my leaves in the space. So this one could also be drawn out far more broad so that it looks like it's folding over that back area too. But that's, you know, that's just one way to do it. But that's how I get them so that they don't look all kittywampus. And so if this is my leaf, the other thing that I like to do when I go to paint them is just, if I've washed in the leaves, I might use another coat of paint just in that wash to just put in that little lined shadowy stripe that kind of stripes each one of the leaves. So I might put some over here, you know, on each one, and that kind of makes it, you know, it doesn't look, I guess, as shamrocky, but it's clover or something, you know, to me. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. But you can put in those if you like that look. And usually I do the leaves, and I'll paint them, of course, but that's how I'm, you know, that's how I'm drawing it. So if I'm going to put it in something, sometimes I'll think about, maybe I don't know what I'm going to put it in, but I'll start thinking about where I want those stems. And I know that those stems are kind of willowy and thin. And so I might do something like that, then draw my box or think about that box and the X. Pretty soon you'll just be doing an X and going rogue and putting some of those leaves on that stem. And then you can put these guys in. But that X or that Y will help you to get started. And when you want to have one that has that petal that falls to the back, then, you know, usually if I've got an X. Say I have the X like that. I'm going to have this back petal just kind of straight so it looks like it's folded over. And I can even have just a couple of those showing so that it's a little bit, it gives it a little more shape to have that. So it looks like it's folding to the back. So that's just something to think about. And then the greenery, of course, is very similar. But you can make it, it's your shamrock, so you can make it any color you want. Because usually when I get the ones that I'm thinking of, I've got some little white blossoms that kind of come off that are just kind of little folded up things. But anyway, that's how I would do it with the shamrocks, and start with just that X or the Y and then put it in there. And you can do the same thing if you're going to have something holding it or have it be, somewhere, somewhere else. And we were talking about the hats and the top hats, and the shamrocks are fairly simple because you can adjust them different directions just by where you put that X and how you have those lines crossing. So for example, if I had it something like that, I could have.
You're off the paper.
Oh, you want to see it?
Uh-huh.
Eggs. So then I've got the leaves that are kind of coming out. They can be misshapen. They don't have to be all even. And so, but just if you want one of them to be folded over, just make sure that the line is straight versus that kind of bent look. And that will help you to fold it over to have it. And then when we go to do our shading, or painting, if we've got one of those that's straight across, and then we've got these that have the little whoopsies in them, then instead of putting in that stripe part, we can shade where this looks like it's going to be folded over the backside. So that would be the only change I would make there. It's the only change. So, makes sense? So that's kind of the shamrock thing. And, you can put them in rocks. I think that they will grow in just about anything, or you could put it in soil. You could have a worm, you could have whatever you want in there, or just have it plain. So when we do the hat though, now there's a simple way to do the hat, and that's with a long, like baguette type oval, just a long skinny kind of oval, kind of a rounded ended rectangle. And then I'm going to come down on both sides, but I don't want it to look like a pilgrim hat. So I'm going to come out this way, and then I'll kind of do a rounded hat, and I'll just keep kind of messing with it until it's kind of got the shape that I like. And then I'll take away those extra lines. And because we're putting something coming out of it, I'll make a hole in that hat, or just the opening, and maybe pull this all the way around so it looks like it does have a little opening there. But it could be just as simple as a long, skinny, round end rectangle. You can put a little hat band on it. If you want it to look like a little leprechaun hat, you could put a buckle on it. And the way to make the buckle look like it's in the right place is if you draw the top part of the buckle above that little band, and then it looks like that hat band fits that band through the buckle. The buckle is the right size for that. And usually I have my buckle hidden with the brim because it comes up a little bit. But that's the simple way that I would do you know, a hat, I always tend to highlight the center of the hat with a lighter color, get a little bit broader at the base, but that's when it's on top of something's head. So we may have to kind of mess with that. And then always I shade these edges because I want it to look cylindrical. So I want those edges to be shaded on either side. But if you wanted to have, you know, maybe a little bit fancier one, you can, I still start out with the hat brim, and I might make it a little bit curved because it seems to me that an Irish top hat kind of has that look to it. And I'm not very good about ever putting that hole in there. And since we've got some greenery that's going to come out of there, you could do the hole like this if you want, but to me it makes it look like the hat isn't sitting correctly. I'd probably narrow that up just so that it looked like there was a little bit of a shady little area to make that hole. And then I've got my, I don't have my little hat brim ideally placed. So all I'm doing is making sure that it ends here, it ends over here about the same place, and that this is even. So my graph paper is really helping me out there. And then I'm going to look at the middle. Let's see, that would be 1, 2, 3. That's about the middle. So I can come down here as tall as I want that hat to be. And then maybe just make an arc. And I'm going to this line and this line. See how they line up on the edges of that brim? That's what I'm looking at as I do this. And if I want it to be like, this one is a simple one, but say I want it to look a little bit more whimsical, a little more detail, I might start in a little bit further. So, but because this is my middle, I've got 2 full squares and part of one. So 2 full squares and part of one. And then I can come out here. I'm thinking more of like the Mad Hatter type of hat. And maybe I want to put my little brim on there. And I would do my buckle the same way that I did the last one. You can mess with it being a little bit narrower or anything like that that you want. So I might put that in. And maybe this hat band has a little bit of a print to it. It could be plaid, it could be polka dots, it could have kind of a paisley or brocade kind of a look to it, you know, and just put some little hints of a pattern on there. And it doesn't take much more than just a hint in order to make it look like it's got some little paisleys or something on it. Maybe some little dots or things like that. So just, you know, you can have it be any kind of pattern that you want. If you want to have, maybe this is a hat that you want it to look like it's really been used, you can make this line on the sides have some little bumpies in it, and that's where it's been crushed or stepped on or sat on or something. You can also, because I'm thinking that a top hat might have a little dome to it, maybe your top hat is going to sit kind of to the side because it's on that little, it's making a little rocky, you know, so it's not going to sit square because of that dome. It might sit a little bit off center or something. So you can make those kinds of arrangements with it. So that's the hat. I'm going to take this out too so that you'll be able to see it when you're working on stuff. And hopefully you're going to put these together in ways that appeal to you. So if you don't want to have a hat, then you don't have to have a hat. If you want to have a hat, you can have a hat. So we've got those little guys, and then this would just set in top of that hat, in my opinion. But you could also make those shamrocks much larger. They don't have to be small and petite. They could take up a lot more real estate, and then you wouldn't have as many to kind of do. And this is how I would probably start, or similar to how I would start a pansy too. But this would be the 2 petals instead of just one, because those 2 petals in the back kind of overlap each other. There's sometimes 2 on the sides too, but that's a story for another day. Story for another day. So another thing that we wanted to incorporate possibly was a bunny. And so all of my characters always start with their nose. However, I want to do that nose, and that nose might change over time. It might, it might look different in terms of placement or whatever, but usually that's where I start. And I'm probably have told you that I got that from taking the little, they were illustration things at Disney in the Imagineering area, and we go to the California one, so in California Adventure. But they always start their characters with the nose too. It anchors it to the page. So I like this kind of a little thing, and it evolved from when I learned to draw bunnies with these two little rounds, and then put the nose in the middle. So that has morphed into this. If you want little teeth, I don't put too big of ones. I just put something like that. And then I'll put the eyes, and that one's going to make him look like he has a real long face. So I'm going to bring those down. So if you take away the teeth, that's the face of a dog, the face of a cat. It could be the face of a bear. It could be, so it's multi-use kind of a face on this one. It could be the face of, change the nose a little bit, take this out. It could be the face of a penguin for that matter. So I like to do my ears. I go up, and then I like to fold down and then have that kind of a wide check mark kind of a look. And then I do those little guys. Sometimes, just because I don't know quite what to do in here, you could do a straight line, but you could also do just kind of a little random scritchy line to give that some hair that's sticking up in the ears as well as in between. And that's a choice with bunnies. You can do however you like them, but that's the start of it. And then usually I like a head that just kind of comes down and then connects, and I'll often put a little chin in there rather than a whole round face. If you want the eyebrows, and that's how that would go. He looks a little bit sinister. He looks like he's up to something. And then I'll do a body. My default body for a bunny starts out like a light bulb, usually. Not always, but usually. And then I might do, I don't know why, I think they all need to have this little insert panel kind of a thing for their tummy, but they do. And then you can choose how you make those back legs. They can go out to the side. A lot of people do them this way. Or you can just show the knee and then the little parts of the jumpers, the feet. So you could do it either way. And then if I'm going to make him hold something, I'm going to bring this down like so. And this down like so. And once I've got those kind of placed where I like them, I'm going to take out those little side pieces. Just put those little mitt kind of hands. So maybe he's got a flower in there, a shamrock or what have you. If it's from behind, of course, you're going to want a little tail, and usually my tail starts out with an X, and then I'll just put in some little filler upper kinds of things. But if you've got the X, then you've always got where your center is going to be. So then with the bunny, you've got opportunities here for patterns in the ears. Maybe you want it with a grid pattern in the ear. And maybe you want this little tummy to have polka dots. So you have some choices. But if you draw with a whisper soft touch, that means you can erase things that you want to erase and you won't have a problem with the erasing part of it. But if you think about the light bulb kind of a shape, this is actually kind of a squatty light bulb kind of a shape. And then you've got just a lot of little ovals and things that you can put in. You can do eyes differently too, because sometimes a bunny has real big wide eyes and then maybe a little bit of a lid. But nice big bunny fluffy lashes. And that one I made it look like he was half asleep. So I'll just put those irises out a little bit bigger. And these eyes are not only a bunny eye, but they would also be a frog eye. Just saying, just saying. So those are the little things, but if you wanted a bunny, that's a little bit more involved, but that's how I do them for sitting up. And if they're laying down, then they're a little bit easier in that you've got the tail, you've got a little round knee part, the foot. We call this when our cat sits this way, the meatloaf position, because she looks like she's a meatloaf.
Can you slide over a little?
No, Barb, you're so demanding today. No, I'm kidding. I'm just teasing you. And that I was talking about my cat and I was drawing a bunny and I drew cat ears. But you could do the same thing with the little ears. Now, Peggy Harris does these cute little bunny ears that are so petite and darling and look like a real little bunny. I make these big old bombastic things, and you know, either whatever you prefer is exactly what you should do. So, but that's how I would do a little meatloaf bunny. Probably not with the chin like that. just a little. So if you, it's hard to see that. So if I did just a little dip and then a chin and then the nose, that's what that looks like, but a little bit closer. And then that cheek would just come around. I did bunnies in 4-H, and one of the things I know about bunnies is they have little, when they're adults, a lot of them have little rolls of kind of fur in here. I think it was Linda McFadden did a cover on in a magazine, and it had the Raspberry Rabbits tea room, and I've painted, oh my goodness, so many of those signs. My mother-in-law, I don't have one, but I gave my mother-in-law one. So when my father-in-law, if something should happen, or if he moves out of that house, then that will be, I'll have one there. But she loved bunnies, but they have like little rolls if you wanted to do them realistic. So then the other thing that we were talking about was a rainbow. And how do you do a rainbow? It's really pretty simple on a black background. And so I'm gonna, yeah, I do have a rainbow on there. Actually, I think I did on this. So if you've got a black background and you want to do a rainbow, first of all, you got to remember what the order of the rainbow is, because that is not good, especially if you've ever got children around. They're going to want you to have all the colors. But I always default to the red, yellow, and pink and green, purple, and or that one. And so there's no red, yellow, then orange. Then we've got, no. Then we've got yellow, green, blue, and then purple or indigo, right?
Roy G. Biv.
Yep, Roy G. Biv always. And then violet, so indigo, violet, or just sometimes people think that indigo and violet are similar. So Roy G. Biv, and it's always good to have them in order, because somebody will tell you. Somebody will tell you. So here we go. So it's just a matter of grabbing some colors that you think you like for the, whatever the tone of your piece is. So sometimes I will grab like a Santa red. Sometimes it will be watermelon slice or something like that for something that's like this, but I like to do them with a dry brush. It's just easier. So I've got the R, the O, so that's Canyon. The Y is the yellow, the baby duck. Green is going to be New Leaf for me. The blue, probably Stormy. Stormy, bright blue, ocean blue, something like that. Stormy should be good. And then the indigo. I would probably want something a little more like dioxazine purple, because it's got a little bit of purple iris would work. Just the Purple Rain has a lot of white in it. And so I've got my colors here. And if you go in the rainbow order, starting with the red, I'm going to just dry that off. I am using an oval dry brush. You can decide where it is that you want your rainbow to be. I'm going to put it over here. And so I'm going to start up here high in the sky, and I'm going to start with my my little arch. I might have to switch to watermelon slice already because I see that that's hard to see on the camera. Hold on, let me get some watermelon slice. Actually, I'm just going to grab a little bit of tea berry since I don't see watermelon slice right off. It's probably sitting right in front of me. But I'm going to grab a little bit of that tea berry, and that will give me just enough, I think, to make that show. I'm just going to mix it with my red. There we go. So I'm just going to do a little, and don't scrub this on too much because you'll be able to go over it and brighten it as it dries, but you want it to dry first. So then I can tip that same color. I didn't wash it out. I can put that in orange. And this first run of it is not going to look like it's going to be a very good rainbow, but give it a little bit of time. Let that first coat dry. I'm going to get most of it out. I'm going to pick up some of my yellow. And the first time I pick it up, I'm scrubbing it into my brush, and then I'm going to wipe it off on my paper towel real good. And then reload in that yellow. And it'll be yellow enough at that point. And just give that a little bit of a scrub. Now you have a lot of colors in here. So it's, you know, it doesn't take very much for each one of the stripes, especially if you're doing a small area. And then I've got my green. And with these colors, it's okay if they overlap because that's kind of the way a rainbow works. And that light is reflecting and refracting and doing all of its things. So there might even be a little bit of the pink or the coral or the red that comes through. That's okay. And then I'll grab a little blue. So I'm just going in order, but if you put that paint on your palette in order, you're going to have a little bit easier time. And then I'll put that blue on there. And then I can pick up some of that purple iris. It's really a pretty color. Okay, so now I really would try and get as much off as you possibly can, because I'm going to start over, because now my rainbow is probably dry back where I started. So I can pick up a little tiny bit of that tea berry with my red just to kind of give it a little more opacity.
Elizabeth,
Yeah,
what did you use for indigo?
I used the iris, purple iris.
Then what did you
Oh,
use?
for
violet?
Stormy, I used Stormy.
What'd you use for blue? I got
Storm.
them all mixed up.
Stormy.
Stormy.
Indigo and blue are the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Some people say indigo, some people say blue in a rainbow. So, and I just wore a hole in mine. So I'm going to tap on my rainbow and then let it dry. And I'll go back into my orange, and a little bit of that tea berry in the orange would be okay too, because it would help it to show up. But that's the easiest way I know of to make a little rainbow. And once you've got this second coat on, then I would just go back in with a smaller dry brush and just stipple a little bit of the color on there. And so we'll put a couple coats on, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to stipple that next color. So putting that yellow on. And it doesn't look nearly as bright as it does on camera. Holy cow. Pick up a little bit of green, that new leaf. And then I'll take my blue, that stormy. Put a little more of that blue on there. And then the purple iris. And I did already stipple on a little bit of that purple. So once I've got all of those on there, I'm going to rinse out this brush. Okay. And you could even use, I'm just going to grab a 3/8 lunar blender to do that stippling that I was talking about. And if I just grab a little bit of that red and a little bit of that tea berry, I don't want any water really remaining in that brush. But what I can do then is just kind of stipple in that stripe. So if you want to put it, you know, in the smack dab center, if you want to put it towards the top, towards the bottom, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to rinse my brush. Then I'll go into that orange, pick up a tiny bit of tea berry, just a tiny skosh, just a little bit. And then I'm going to start at the outside edge out here again. Don't have quite enough paint. But because we've dry brushed, it really helps it to pop. And then I'll rinse that out again and go to the yellow. My yellow is plenty bright. So I might even put just a little skosh of that tea berry in it just to kind of get it to calm down a little bit, and we'll see if it looks better in the camera. Not so much. I just didn't want it quite so bright, but it's going to be bright. And maybe that's not the yellow to use. Maybe it needs to be, you know, a more true yellow with less white in it. A lighter yellow, that's something to be aware of because it gets light because it has white. So a transparent yellow will quickly become opaque because you've got that light yellow in it that has so much white in it. I'm going to do the same thing here on my green. Just take and stipple that color. just a little bit, but that dry brushing I think looks real pretty underneath it. And then you can always shade on top of the rainbow with a little bit of real soft black. You know, just walk it out real well, and it looks real nice. And if at any time, you know, something isn't showing up, like my blue is not really showing up all that great, I can tip into a little bit of, well, maybe not. Thought I had some, yeah, I had a little bit of white here on my palette, not much. But I can take that in my dirty brush, and on that blue, if I need it to show up a little bit more, I can use a little bit of that dirty brush on that blue, and it will help it to pop forward, just to get real good and gone there. And then the purple. And the purple, I think because I put some white in my blue, I'm just going to leave that in my brush because that will help that purple to show up too. And then just strengthen that purple a little bit. So we'll get that dry. And if you like it real bold like this, that's great. But I want to show you how you can kind of separate them if you want them to be separated again. If you want a little bit of that black in there, you can put it back in. But I think I'm going to put my top hat on this piece, and I'll put top hat and shamrocks on this. So I've got all my colors in there, and what I can do is take a little tiny bit of black on that dry brush and then work it into the brush. And this is still that lunar blender. I'm going to get most of it off on my paper towel. And then if I want, I can go between those colors just with a real soft hand, and it will help separate them again if you like that look. If you like it better when it's kind of melded together, then keep it that way. You make yourself happy, but this is one way when you're doing it on a black background. A lot of times people like to leave that little bit of black showing.
I did mine on a black green background. Should I do black green in between?
Yes, use your background. Okay. Yep. So there we go with that little rainbow. Now, if for some, oh golly, that's why it was so wonky. If for some reason you've got, you know, some color where you don't want it, or you want it to look a little bit more, you can wash over these with a little bit of that color that you dry brushed on there. And I'm taking that black that I have in my dry brush and just kind of dry brushing with the black right at the base where I'm going to be putting that little hat and stuff, so that I don't have to worry about that getting shaded again. So I'm not going to use all of it. I'm just going to have a little bit there, and I'll want to put probably maybe a gold coin or two in there and have it be shining and stuff. And it's a little bit different to do a hat, a black top hat on a black background. I'm going to do that, but if you don't want to work that hard to do it, or don't want to mess with it, you could make it green if you wanted. It could easily be green. In fact, I might just do it green because that would look good on this background. But what you can do if you want it to be black, all you're going to do is where I'm dry brushing with green, you're going to use zinc, and it will work the same way. So for a black top hat, use zinc, and for a green one, you can leave that black in your brush and just tip into a little bit of lamp black, not a lot, and then get your new leaf so that it's you're kind of making a deeper, darker green to start with, and then we'll get brighter. So there's where I had the black in my brush. I added some new leaf. You can see that it's real green. So to do one with a paintbrush, I'm going to start out with that brim. Make sure that it's kind of somewhat, sort of straight, or at least acquaint myself to where it's at. And then I'll do a little arc at the bottom. And I'm going to come up the middle. Now that's not my shape yet. There you can kind of see it. Not quite there. I'm just going to take that chisel edge of that dry brush and put some curved lines. Kind of get my shape better on my hat. And that's what I have so far. And I'm going to dry it. A new leaf on your brush. And you're normally I would say take that lighter color and go narrower. But because we want to have this show up on this black background, you're going to get, you're just going to get stronger. You're not really. So I just picked up a little bit of that color on the edge of my dry brush, and then I just stippled across the brim because we want that to show up for sure. And then I can go through the middle up to the top of that hat. And I'm not too concerned about the hole I just rubbed in it because that brim is going to be on there. And just kind of build that color up. And then just use that chisel edge to kind of define that top hat's shape.
Can you repeat the process again with
Of
a
course.
green?
Of course. So I just had a little bit of black in my brush along with the new leaf, and I dry brushed it. So I'm going to have a little bit of black, and I'm going to tip into new leaf, and it's going to be just kind of a dark green. That's a little too black. Probably I could put a little more green with it. And then with that color I just mixed, I'm going to do the shape of the hat. So I'll put on the base coat, not base coat, but I'll get the whole thing with that darker color, and I'll go with the green plus the black. And then once I've got that all covered on my hat, I'm going to get most of the paint off. I can rinse it out. So I've got a clean brush, and then I'll go into the new leaf, swirl it on my palette, get it worked in a little bit, and then I'm going to go to my paper towel and get a lot of that off of the ends. I'll go across the brim, and you may need to stipple it, and then you're going to go through that center section of the hat, making it a little bit broader at the base. Turn it on its chisel edge and do the outside edges. And if you get it too bright, you just go back in with that deep dark green that you made with with the black and the new leaf. If you need it a little bit brighter still, you can take that dirty brush and pick up just a little bit of that baby duck, and you'll get kind of like a margarita green. So that right in the central areas, you can just put a little bit of that highlight color. I might even put a little bit on my green part of my rainbow.
That looks nice.
Works up if you're, take that color and just kind of work it from, we really put on our shade color first and just brought it up brighter and brighter. And it really does, Rosemary West knew what she was doing with that dry brushing, because it's a lot of fun to build that color that way, I think. And that's what she's built her whole career on. And then I'm going to take a little bit of black just to make my band, and that's going to disappear. The edges are going to disappear onto my background, but I don't want it too terribly wide because I want that hat to show. I'm going to tip that black loaded brush into a little bit of white that I had on my palette. It's not going to take much because you're just going to want like a zinc color, not anything real bright. And I'm going to take that light gray and just put a line down each side, and it will just make that hat band stop. I'll take that same gray and just kind of streak it through that black. And that's all I'm going to do for that hat band. I'll put a little buckle on it in a second here. But if you need to, define it a little bit more, you can always put a little line of lamp black at the top of that hat band or something, and that will help set it off a little bit. If you need to, if you got some on your background, some of the dry brushing, just take that black and very little water, or no water if you can, in your liner brush and just go up the sides, and that'll knock that back a little bit. Now I do think that I'm going to put a little bit of gold, some gold coin in there. And so I'm going to grab, just so I have it, my 24 karat gold extreme sheen. Now I don't want to put that just straight on here. I don't know, well, it might show. I could try it. Usually I undercoat for the gold. Ooh, this one is not shaken up. And usually I'll undercoat something like that with a little bit of honey brown, but we've got yellow on our palette, so that would work out. And it'd be honestly plenty dark. I'm going to, I've got a dry brush here and some lamp black. I don't want it to dry up on my palette, so I'm going to touch up my background. Sometimes if, anything with, I use a lot of those alcohol wipes to get paint off my hands. My hands are dry. Sometimes you get a little bit of a white shadow. I think it's probably just dry skin maybe, I don't know. It's kind of gross, but so with no water in there, I can go over wherever I've got little smudges while I'm thinking of it and just get that background kind of taken care of. And then I'll take, I've got that baby duck on my palette, so I'm gonna just base coat in the little buckle on the hat, just pretty much sketch it in with baby duck. I could have used Jasonia's gold is nice, but it's the one I have. I think that there's different types. The one I have, Pinecraft gave me to try, and it's very, very yellow. And so I don't use it very often, but it covers so nice. And then I've got, this is the 14 karat gold extreme sheen. And I'll just use my liner brush and go over that baby duck. It might take 2 coats. Maybe not. And then I've got that on there. So I don't think it's going to show yet. It needs to be dry. Just another little coat of that 14 karat. And you can kind of see maybe it's got a little bit of sheen to it. And while I have that gold in my brush, I'm just going to do some little set downs and make these little gold coins. Kind of stacked up here and there. A little bit of gold coin down there for the luck of the Irish there. So my maiden name was Gordon, so there's a little bit of Irish in there. My grandma's maiden name was Doyle. Yeah, there's a little Irish back in there. And my dad's favorite saying was, if it weren't for whiskey, the Irish would rule the world. And then he'd laugh. He thought that's so funny. So, and I think I'll even put a couple, just not many, just a couple on the brim. I haven't put my shamrocks in there. I can always add them. But that little hat is just there to catch that gold at the end of the rainbow. My hat's sitting a little bit kitty wampus because it's curved. And
That's all right. It still looks good.
yeah, it's gonna be fine. It's well, and if it was you know, it might be crooked sitting on the ground anyway. I think more so than straight usually, but I think what I'm gonna do is for those little I want my little shamrocks to show up a little bit, and I'm going to use Irish moss. So that's a real bright green. It's very transparent though, so it may take, you know, a couple of coats, but I want to make those with you could use a small filbert would work really well, or a small round. I just wouldn't use a choice detailer because you would end up with, you know, real sharp little tails at the end of your when you put down the little strokes, and you don't want that for something like this. You're trying to make those nice little rounded petals, so, or those little leaves. So if I just think about how I'm going to put kind of two little strokes, so kind of with my paintbrush I can do little V's and then kind of connect them. So again, a couple of little V's, and then with a little wiggle, connect them. And I'm thinking about that kind of X shape that we talked about. And there's my first little shamrock.
What color was that again?
This is Irish moss.
Okay.
And if, you know, oops, and that would be gold that I just got on my black background. I must have stuck my finger in it. Oh, funny. Goodness sakes, goodness sakes, goodness sakes. And this one's all smeared, so I need another coin over here. Oh, got a mess. If your Irish moss isn't showing up though, remember you can add just a little tiny touch of white to it, or even the yellow to it, and it will give it enough oomph to show up. Yeah, that yellow works like a champ to make that show up. Just a tiny skosh of it really makes a difference. There's a couple of little pull over. Thinking of it, I'm gonna see if I can find something to show you.
I love this, by the way.
Oh, good. Oh, you do sound sick, you poor thing.
Oh, it's okay.
Oh, okay, but you gotta see, hold on here. I think I mentioned it this morning when I was doing my live, and just in case you didn't get a chance to go and take a look at it, I want you to be able to see it. So hold on, because it will make you laugh, and all painters should look at this because it's just the funniest thing. Looking in the wrong place, I believe. There we go. Okay, so my friend Danielle, who I travel with, she has Bella the Barns, and she was getting on live last night to paint something. I still don't know what she was painting, but she had to shake up her paint. And she got a little bit of a surprise. So here's her face, if that gives you any hint on her video. So let me start this. Now, hold on, that didn't even show it. Hold on. Now, that was so bad. Oh my gosh.
Was she live?
Yeah, she's live. Totally. She didn't realize how bad it was.
Oh, I should have wiped it across. So it oh, jeez.
So now she's seeing it in her hair.
You'll see that? Oh,
It's
I
getting
went
worse.
the wrong way.
The poor thing.
Freaking gosh. I don't know that freaking A. Now my hair's gonna be stuck. If you're new, just ignore me. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I just run it right. I meant to wipe it down. Wipe it straight up, you guys. Sorry. This is the only thing I have. These people, if you get the replay or don't, I'm just making
It looks like clown
they're
eyebrows.
gonna
doesn't
think, oh, she.
Yeah, because every time she wipes her face, it gets on there.
it? But that's priceless. So there you go. There you go.
She handled that pretty good, though. At
She
least
did.
I probably would be in panic mode.
Oh, she did. She's so funny. She's so funny. But yeah, and so I wouldn't have seen it because I was teaching, I think, when that happened. But then Damon, being the supportive coach to her that he is, he had to post it in the mastermind chat so that we could all see it and make sure that it didn't get past us. So, but no, she took it like a champ, and she does really cool things. She does repurposed stuff, and so she's got like old spindles and stuff. She was showing a really cute piece that she cut these metal carrots and then did a little Easter egg with spindles shapes on a block, and it's really cute. But that's how it all came to be. Right before we left for mastermind, she has Amish people cut her wood, and they're the ones that she uses and has for years. Their shop caught fire and burned to the ground, and Danielle was devastated. She for them, so sad for them. And then they had her subscription order, and she's really, she lost her mom. She's had a lot of things going on. She lost her mom unexpectedly, and then just had a hard time getting back on her feet after that. And so she was finally going to be able to mail out her subscription on time. She was really concentrating on it, and then the woodcutter's shop burned down, and that she got it out. But yeah, so if it's going to happen, it's going to happen to her. She's just got all kinds of stuff going on. But I thought that was so cute, and any painter can totally relate to it because we've all been there in some form or fashion. And but yeah, she did handle it just like a champ. I was teaching third grade, and one of our teacher's daughters was in my room, and her mom's a kindergarten teacher. And so Haley came up to me and she goes, Mrs. Stoll, I can't get this glue open. And it was one of those bottles of Elmer's that's about as big as your foot. It's so huge. And I was teasing her mom that she just took one out of the teacher's supply closet. She didn't, but I was teasing her. Well, Haley comes up to me and she goes, Mrs. Stoll, I can't get this open and I think it's clogged. So I looked down the little nozzle and it was like school hadn't been in session for a month, I don't think. And so I looked at it and I could see the clog in there. And so I'm looking straight down that nozzle. I'm looking straight down it. And I'm standing by her desk. And so I'm pushing and squeezing and squeezing and pushing and thinking, oh, it's so close. If I just give it one more, yeah, that's the fatal flaw right there. This baseball size glob of glue comes jetting out of the top of this bottle like a rocket. And this big glob of glue goes up my face. Cause remember, I'm looking down through everything to look at the glue. It goes up my nose all the way to my forehead. And then what goes up has to come down. So it went down my face, down my cute little twin set I had on, that mind you, Elmer's glue stained, and went down the front of my pants. I still had plenty of glue though, because it went all the way down my pants into my shoe. And Haley's looking at me like, oh, is she going to be mad? What's going to happen? So, and I tried to call Shane and it was too late. He had already left to come up there. I worked about 20 minutes from home. He was bringing me lunch that day. He had the day off and oh my stars, what a mess. And so I was stuck being just a sticky mess the rest of the day. But it was pretty funny. And then for that little gal, she graduated a while back, and for her graduation, I painted her a rose mold box because she's Norwegian, and then put a big old bottle of glue in it. So that was a funny day, but I wasn't on a live with, I think Danielle said she had 300 people watching at that point. Something like that. So just a few little shamrocks. I like that kind of a look. You can do, you know, you can channel your inner Holly Hanley. And she always does such cute things in the background and stuff to create movement. But this would be something that would be fun to just create some little movement in the back, just to kind of make it look like it's just that those little guys are just kind of frolicking around.
That is super cute on that scalloped wood piece
Now-
that you have.
Thank you. This is these, if they're not up on the website, they're going to be. It's just a little set of ornaments. In fact, I'm pretty sure that they're up on the website. It's a set that I love the shapes.
Yeah, super cute, Elizabeth.
There is the wide one. Then there's the narrow one. And these are pretty big. These are like 5.5 to 6.
Okay.
There's also a round one and then an oval.
And so you offer these on your site to
Yeah,
buy?
on my website.
Okay.
Yeah, they're on my website. And
you call well, I guess you can see what they look like. So
yeah, it's just, I think I call it an ornament set. And I think they're under embellishments or surfaces, one of the two.
Okay. Super cute.
They're
It really looks cute with the it like flows, right? It kind of like coming in
the little
yeah,
bit.
with the
Yeah,
very
I think
cute.
so too. And that was by accident because I had a round all ready to go because I hadn't decided to do it this way. I thought I was just going to show you the and I thought, no, I'll just use this. So, but yeah, I love these little arches, and then to hang it, because you could do it this way too on these.
True. Yeah.
The other way, but I would just do a little ribbon or something and then anchor it with a couple of buttons on the back. And
or you can stick it on your board with those little magnet things.
that's right. It would be really cute.
I watched your when you were talking about that.
Yeah.
That's a cute idea.
I've got it right here. Let's see what
What
it
are
looks
little magnet things?
Yeah, yeah. I know what you're talking about. I've used those before. They're
Yeah.
very strong.
The ammonium magnets.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to change them out. That's a great idea. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it probably
Won't that look
wouldn't
cute?
be the best background color for this
True,
one,
but
but it would be fine. I mean, it wouldn't be horrible. It'd look better on that side.
well, I think probably if you're going to interchange them, you probably got to do some kind of neutral on the back,
Yeah.
probably of your block,
Yeah.
whether it's just stained brown or maybe white one or something.
Well,
but-
and I was thinking that I would go over this maybe with the bleach sand and then sand it down so that it would kind of show, but not really, because this has got it in it too, but it doesn't fight with it like the other, you know.
Okay, those are super cute.
Yeah. So
Do you create those yourself, your blocks, or do you
the
have
block,
someone that yeah,
the
your
block
all your
I have-
tags and your
yeah, the blocks I have made, and then I've collected the other things.
yeah.
I've got a sickness from all different places. So,
Oh,
so they're
hey,
not,
that's the way it works, right?
it's
the way it
not,
works.
and
Do you? I'm
Tamara
going to
does-
ask you another little question. Do
Sure.
you always paint on wood? It seems like you're always painting on wood. Do you
I
ever do canvas at all, or not so much?
I don't care for canvas that much.
No, it's harder, I think.
I think it
for the
is,
bump.
and it just that texture just doesn't agree with, you know, for me it seems like always the texture is in the wrong place or something. And I have, you know, painted on canvas, and I've done these little canvas magnets. I don't know if you've ever seen these, but they don't really count for canvas, but you can buy these on Amazon, and they're magnets, and
Oh,
they're the 4-inch.
I've seen those. I think Hobby Lobby carries some of those too. I
Oh, they
think.
probably do. They probably
Yeah, I think I've seen those.
yeah, but I prefer the wood, and it just feels good, and it's
Smoother, probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I like the metal too, and I will paint on metal occasionally, but yeah, I think that the wood is just my favorite thing, and I am looking at getting some of these cut that have frames that go on them, and so it would be a little bit, you know, more finished, but it would still be this, you know, weight and stuff. But I do have to tell you guys, so here's the inside scoop to the whole thing. If you saw when I did the bunny bait that I did last week on Craft Round the Clock, I don't know if you saw that, but it was a Dollar Tree challenge, and I think the sign turned out darling. However, you would need to build a stronger door to hang this piece on it. It's
Okay.
so heavy. It is so heavy. I bet you it weighs
Even
five-
with that, you used a pizza pan. Is that correct?
yeah, the pizza
Something like
pan's
that?
light, but this was one of those wood rounds with the beads on
Okay.
the Dollar Tree. That's heavy. But the whole thing, and then these beads, I have so much glue on here. These beads got a little heavy, but I'm telling you, this is, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's cute.
But it was kind of funny. So that's definitely something.
Well, maybe you just stick it on an easel.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or originally I was going to give it to our neighbors across the street because they're moving. But do you know, we've lived across the street from them for probably 25 to 27 years, and they moved and they didn't say goodbye
Oh.
to anyone in the neighborhood.
Oh.
And
Okay.
I mean, we're not super close, all of it. I mean, we are in the spring and summer, but I thought, well, I certainly would have said something. So she's not getting that. She's not.
Yeah. Hope she's not watching. No, I can't.
Yeah, no, she's not. She's not in here. But yeah, it was kind of funny.
That is funny.
Well, fine. I think I would put a little bit of this gold too in some of this movement. And it just kind of gives it a little bit of just a little something.
Are you gonna write something on there?
Oh my, I could. Catch the fruit flavors? No, I'm kidding.
This is lettering, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that. What do you want me to write? Or what do you want to write? What do you guys want to write? Barb, you're just kind of being difficult today.
No, that was all Colleen.
I started and I just let her finish.
Pot stirrers. It is lettering. What should we put on there? I'm just having so much
It
fun.
has to be little though.
Well, yeah, I ran out of room on mine. It could have something to do with luck. It could be something to do with the end of the rainbow. It could be, oh, I know something that's not very nice to say in Irish, but I'm not going to do that. We got beer pints. There's an Irish pub. When we go to Maui, we go to this Irish pub because they have bagpipes on Sunday nights. And there's a little leprechaun. He's turned around and he's showing you his backside because basically it's kiss my backside in Irish, but not backside. And so it's on these, and my husband thought that those little beer pints were so cute. So I do know.
I'll have to show you what I got at Target today since we're on this kick. Look at this. It's a
What is that?
you can drink out of it. It's a cup. And it's a pot of gold.
Oh,
Yeah.
how cute is
It's
that?
plastic, but I drink iced coffee, so I'm gonna drink my coffee.
Oh, that's so cute. That
They
is
ha-
so cute.
Yeah, they had them in the top spot there.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah.
My husband, every year I get Shane a kind of an off kilter kind of a hold on here. Let me get this off. There we go. I get him a little bit of a, it's not, why is that doing that? You guys can't see me, can you?
Oh, no. Where'd you go?
I don't know.
The down part
Oh,
you can see, but not the up part.
Wait. No,
The up part must be turned around.
I don't think so. That's what I've got. And my camera is right here. So let's try turning it around. There I am. Hello. So every year I get Shane a little something that's Irish because he's Irish too. And so one year I got him in Vegas his favorite t-shirt, and it says Irish yoga, only it's got Jameson whiskey, which is what if he doesn't drink much, but if he does, that's what he drinks. And it's all of these guys falling down in different positions, and it's called Irish yoga. So I got him another t-shirt this year, and it came yesterday, and he just roared. He thought it was so funny. But it says something about the best Irish pub in the land or something. And the pub was called Pat Mick, and lower extremity rhymes with Scotch. And Pat Mick, and so he thought that was the funniest. He can hardly wait to wear that t-shirt. We're going clam digging this weekend, so he's going to wear it for his friend. So we always have little fun things for. I should get some of those cups for us to take. Super fun. Super fun. Okay, looking at.
Can you do like maybe
Okay, here we go. So my poor husband, though, he's so abused.
The stores don't really have a lot of St. Patrick's Day stuff.
No,
this
they
year.
never ever do.
Yeah.
And it's it's okay though. We don't really need any more stuff. I've got a notification on my iPad and it's not letting me do my, there we go. Maybe that will do it. Nope. There we go. There we go. So what are we gonna do here? Let's see.
You could
I
put,
could do just pot of gold.
I was gonna say you could do Lucky Stars, Happily Delicious, but that's a copyright infringement.
Let me see. Hold on. Well, what would I do normally? I would probably go in.
Well, maybe a
to-
tag, you could write it on a little tag and hang the tag on there.
Sure, but we have to do something. I got to get you something that's written here. Let me grab this.
chasing rainbows?
Oh, that's a good one. Let's do Chasing Rainbow. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's nice.
That's a great one.
Maybe kind of chasing around the edge up there at the top or something. and
Sure.
Maybe
Sure.
Maybe I don't know, rainbows at the bottom corner, maybe?
Yeah.
Right corner? I don't know.
That-
I don't know.
that-
It's,
and you could
you
write it.
just do you. You do great.
No. Well, one thing I see here is that I'd like this to be a little more yellow. So I'm going to take that little wash of yellow and just go across it. And that is perfect. And then let's see. Chasing rainbows. Let's see. I'm going to do this in, I think I'm going to do it. Should I try it in gold? I could try gold. That's kind of a scary.
How about your gold pen? The gold.
Oh, that's a good one. I'm going to try it with a brush.
Artito.
You could do, yeah, you could definitely do it with a gold pen, and that would be probably the best option. But I'm going to do it with a brush just so we see that it can be done.
Okay.
You
So,
get to practice your arch lettering.
yes, see?
Yeah.
Oh, I better set a better example. I was just going to go for it, but no, I won't. I'll set that up here. And we were talking about painting on wood versus canvas. I also like to find things to paint on. And so that's part of it too. You know, to find a piece of wood or to find a piece, you know, in a thrift shop or something. I'm always looking for something to paint on and do something a little bit different, especially before. Now it's a little bit different when I have to find things for everybody to use. But so I'm going to start with just a little loop. And we're going to make this, I'm going to, just because I want it to be even more challenging, I'm going to do cursive. So watch my spelling though, you guys. You know how, you know, if I get fancy, that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to happen.
Well, after sparkle and shine and all that lettering we did the other night,
Yeah.
I was so tired.
It's a lot, isn't it?
It's so, you have to really concentrate.
Yes. And don't you think though that it was easier now that you've been lettering a while though? Maybe
no,
not.
No, because I haven't, you know, I haven't really been practicing. I have not been.
Well, you've been busy. You've been busy.
Yeah, well, I was so sick for so long too.
Yeah. Yes.
And now my grandson is in the high school hockey tournament.
Oh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, they won last night. So it's like double or single elimination. They won 3 games. They're in sections. They won 3 games and they play again Thursday. If they win Thursday, they'll go to state.
Oh my gosh,
So,
that's exciting.
yeah, then they get to play where the Minnesota Wild play and stuff.
Oh, that's so fun.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's a big
Yeah, they got him a coach bus last night and brought all the kids to the game in a coach bus. And
oh, fun. And this, I'm worried that I'm not going to have room for rainbows. So I think I'm going to continue that kind of arch and put rainbows over here. But I'm going to put my little, just follow that. Oh, that's so exciting. My husband, I've mentioned several times that he's from a real small logging town. And when he was in high school, he was a pitcher. And he was the pitcher in the state championships because they went to the state championships, this little school. Well, you can imagine that little tiny school, what big news that was that they got to go to state. Well, never mind that during that whole state thing, Shane he was a senior and he found out he had a baseball scholarship to a private college here. It's called Linfield, and just a really nice college. But he also was drafted to the California Angels. And in that little town, here he is 57. And when we go back there, we go back every year for the Morton Loggers Jubilee. It never fails that someone doesn't bring it up, buy him a drink, do something while we're up there, or come by the campsite and talk to him about it. He's still celebrated there for that state championship thing. So it's not something that is soon forgotten, for sure. And those kids will never, ever forget that, your grandson and stuff. That's super cool.
Could you add just like a somewhere, chasing a
Sure, you
rainbow?
can here.
Maybe since you didn't have room for your S.
Oh, well, there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
in
what
there.
I'm gonna have to do, huh? Thank you for watching my spelling, because I wouldn't have seen it
It
until,
is, that turned out really cute. I like it.
so it would yeah, we'll put one right there. Look at that. There we go. Too busy telling my story. And then with the gold, it's really hard to keep it nice and thin, and it tends to want to get sticky and thick. And I have a couple of places that I want to narrow it up, and you can do it really easily with just your background color. So a little bit of lamp black, and on this A, I've got that top part is really thick. So I'm going to just take and nudge in some lamp black, just like that. And that will just fix that right up. I also have a little area on the W. And so I can fix that guy up. When Shane was in that state championship, he got to play in the Kingdom. And, it's been long since torn down and everything, but, that's where the Mariners play and stuff, or did play. And so that was a pretty special thing. I hope that they get to do that. That'll be really special for him. So just a little bit of touching up, and it's not hard. You can see where I did with the A, it's still wet, and you can just use that little bit of stuff. If you have an area where you think that your little shamrocks aren't showing up very well, take a little bit of lamp black and get it nice and washy, lots of water, and then you can just, not everywhere, but you can outline where it needs to just pop that shamrock forward a little bit. And that just helps to kind of spring it forward. And you can do it wherever you think you need it, if you need it like in a little V section or something like that.
Did you shade and highlight your shamrocks, or?
No. When I did the shamrocks, let me show you. So that Irish moss is not very, it's not very opaque. So I put on my Irish moss with that little kind of wave there. And on that black background, I found that it was not showing up like I wanted it to. So all I did with that is I put that Irish moss on, and then once it was dry, I just tipped it in either. Now, some of them, if they were small, you could put a little more Irish moss on there and it would cover it real well. But if they were a little bit larger, that wasn't going to work. And it just made thicker paint. So what I did was take that Irish moss, touch into a little bit of my baby duck, just to make that nice, real light lime green color. And then I just added a little bit of that lighter color here and there to kind of get that coverage, because the lime green or the Irish moss wasn't doing it. So where you see those changes, those shifts in color, are just that lighter color of paint that I used, just to kind of help it to show. So hopefully now it's easier to see where I went over it with the
Yeah, let me do a screenshot.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Did you highlight the center of the hat too with that baby duck, or just?
I did.
Okay.
Just the same brush mix. And even like now, if I wanted it to be a little brighter, I could come back in. It's not the same mix, of course, because but I could come back in and just do that in the center and have it wouldn't have to be a dry brush necessarily. Just a little bit of that lighter color will make all the difference.
Thank you.
And then I'll have to get rid of my little chalk lines and stuff. And just real careful, I'll go in there. This should be dry, but I don't want to disturb things that don't need to be disturbed. So I'm just taking a little damp brush. Well, it's not a little brush, but I'm taking a wet brush and going over those chalk lines. And if they come, sometimes they'll dry and they'll come back through. You have to hit them again with a little bit of water, but eventually, they'll come up.
Want to see?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I was just thinking on this little scalloped one, I might use the gold pen and just highlight that it's scalloped around the outside edge. But let me get this off. I do want to see. Hold on. Let me get this out of the way. I'm going to take that one off. There we go. Okay, there's Barb. Cute. Looks very cute. Very cute.
Very cute.
You did not have to even add an A for chasing a rainbow.
No, because I put an S on there. Chasing
That's
Rainbow.
awesome. You didn't run out of room. Who else wants to show? Oh, there we go. Lisa. Oh, super cute.
Arnie.
Arnie. I love
Nice
it.
writing. I love your writing.
Look at that pretty writing.
I love your hat.
So pretty.
Thank you.
Okay, who else? Come on, be brave. Nobody's being brave. Okay. Oh, there we go. Denise felt pushed. Hold on, put it in front of your face. There you go. Oh, cute. Very cute. Love it. Love it.
Got a long way to go, but
Well,
I'm getting there. I'm braver than I used to be.
There you go. There you go. What did you think of that X for doing the
Yeah, I put X's on there because I did one and I didn't like it. So then I put X's so I know where I'm going with the thing, but I love that idea.
I think it really helps to have those help meet in the middle.
Yeah.
Rather gets all kind of, it looks like those have been stepped on. So anybody else want to share? Anybody else?
I didn't paint tonight.
That's okay. That's all right.
I have to work, so I come in late. So by the time I get home, so I don't really get started with everything.
That's fine. Just post when you get them done so that people can see. It's always fun to see what
Just
everything
on the lettering page.
Just on our page. Yep. And it's always just fun. It's always fun. So, well, I appreciate you guys. Thanks for painting with me and putting up with me and all the things. So next week we'll be together, and I am going to go to Louisiana again. I go on the first week of April. So we'll have a recorded class to make up for that one, I think. It just, with all of the things that got sent down to us this last meeting, I know that if I go to the meeting, it's for the CMC, the one just before you get to Mastermind. We still are invited to those, but I know that if I go, I'll be able to get those questions answered that I've got for trying to implement what we learned last time. So that's why I'm going. And have a great rest of your week. We're gonna
Hey,
go
Elizabeth.
planting this weekend. So
Elizabeth, I hate to bother you, but I need to kind of visit with you somehow because we need to talk. I think you charged back my card and you shouldn't have. So somehow we need to visit on my card for
Yeah.
payment. So yeah, we visited a little bit because I had messaged you, but I just wondered if there was a better way to kind of talk to you.
let me
So
let
I
me
need to
stop
give